So my basic word here is that it could get much worse before it gets better. Like, is anything gonna improve? No, it's gonna get worse. So far in my life, I've seen that. If you can't imagine this, it's something bad is gonna happen that's grotesque and horrifying. And it's just a matter of time, which is why I dedicated the last years of my teaching career to really zeroing in on peacemaking and trying to get the voices in the Christian world amplified as we try to effect some kind of reconciliation between Palestinians and Israelis. But it has been a very unpopular effort, and it's not really something that people prioritize. Now, of course, there's been a lot of political development over the centuries that has led to conflict, and I'm not denying that in any way. There's been bloody conflict because each people believes that they have the truth and that the others are wrong. And so this idea that we can't share the truth and all acknowledge the God of Israel as the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Ishmael has been a really huge problem in modern times. I won't give up on the dream of peace, but I also know how almost impossible it is. And the only way is for people, instead of screaming and yelling, if instead they were working for peace, literally, and not just, fighting for territory and sovereignty, there could be a change.
There's this Canadian Palestinian medical doctor, and he says, the thing is, you can't ask people to coexist by having one side bow their heads and rely on a solution that is only good for the other side. What you can do is stop blaming each other and engage in dialogue with one another. We are more similar than we are different, and we're all fed up with the violence. So my dad is Lebanese, and he grew up during the Civil War from 1975 to 1990. During that time, there was a lot of internal conflict between the different political groups and religious sects in Lebanon. And so there was a lot of fighting, and a lot of that caused destruction in Lebanon, and specifically in our capital, Beirut. And during that time, from 1976 up until 2006, Syrian leaders started to occupy our land. And they almost acted as a mediator between the opposing parties, but in a way that they had much more control than they should have. And so that created a lot of hatred that we had towards Syrians. And so when they left in 2006, there was a whole civil war in Syria. And so we had massive numbers of Syrian refugees come into our country. So the same people, the same generation that had hurt us, they had now come into our country seeking refuge. And so what was that going to look like? What was that going to look like for an average Lebanese? We were going to show hatred, we were going to show the same hostility, we were going to treat them with disrespect and completely isolate them from our community. But churches like ours instead decided to open their doors, and that's where they showed reconciliation that Christ shows in the Bible. And these Syrians started coming into the church and asking questions like, when we used to kill your kids, why are you protecting ours? When we used to hurt your women, why are you caring for ours? And so they started to see love and reconciliation in the eyes of these Lebanese Christians. So when you see that these two cultural enemies are able to meet halfway and reconcile and forgive, I think that's powerful, and you don't find that everywhere. It's very rare.
I can give you guys 5 minutes.
No.
No, yeah.
We shouldn't need that long, but
now you already showed.
We've already done it. I think it's fine. I can serve you, sir.
So, AC stands for air conditioning.
How's it looking?
Great. Sorry, I'm so much in the zone. It's looking good. Crazy. The whole patients and nurses coming to life. Kind of crazy. So, can't wait to see how it turns out. I think day one was a busy day. We had many extras in the hospital scene. We had to direct all that. There was a lot of movement, a lot of blocking all throughout. And so we wanted to make sure that we also created a space for our actor Ilan to be able to express emotionally, but also create that intensity and the hecticness almost of the environment that they were in.
Maybe go back to 15 now with the blinders.
Sounds good. Good. Thank you.
That's a wrap on day one.
First shot of the day. Relieved.
How late are we, Annabelle?
20 minutes.
So day two was great. I really enjoyed the production design, especially that Grace, Abby, and Hallie were able to put on. I think it was a challenge because we started the day almost late. We had a problem with our Fisher dolly, but we moved on and we started with the scenes of Daniel and Naomi and that intense scene between themselves, fighting over the fact that they had their son, or Daniel's son, had just met a Palestinian woman, which is almost taboo in that culture.
We got first shot of the day, and we had to remind him to take the lens cap off. It was embarrassing.
No, that is not true. What are you doing? You're spreading propaganda.
That's funny.
Good job, everyone. This is great.
Why am I saying this again?
What?
Every day is National Women's Day, now that I'm here. That's it.
You're something.
Day three, we were super behind, and that was not. It was just a lot of scenes that we had to cover. It's so funny. We just take our time up until lunch, and at lunch we're like, we're gonna cut 5 shots, and we're gonna merge 17 others, and so it's sweet how Joseph and I are able to have such harmony and try to figure out a way to make this happen with perhaps less shots.
Sound. Cam.
Rolling.
1 hotel, take 1.
And action.
It occurred to me that one of the ways that I can stay focused but not be afraid and not be angry but to stay calm is to imagine myself as a gyroscope that's in balance. And so whenever tsunamis hit or an earthquake or any other natural disaster or man-made disaster, I'm going to be able to find my true north, and I'm not going to be waylaid, taken out, or disrupted. I'm just going to imagine that I'm like this little spinning top that's in harmony with the cosmos, and that God has this. And I can just find that center and be calm and let nothing disturb me.
If there's one thing that I want us to take away from this film, is to ask the question, who is that cultural enemy in your context? Who is that person that you would never really want to associate with? And what would that look like for you to meet with him halfway and just have a conversation?